Hi. Say that again. Do I want to tell them who I am? Yes. My name is Michaela, and I am Brooke's little cousin, and I am also her aide. What do I want to talk about today? Well, there's some things that I wish people would understand about what it's like to be an aide, as well as just some general common courtesy things that people can do towards others with physical disabilities. Before I go off on another one of my tangents, okay, you can ask me some questions. You are a journalist after all. I've known you my whole life. Right. Yes, I've known you my whole life, but is there something that surprised me or something I was nervous about when I went from cousin to aide? Yes. Even though I've known you my whole life, and I know, I have a really good sense of what you have to do to navigate this world on a daily basis, I was never responsible for your care and doing those things with you. It was always your dad would help out, or you had another aide that would do those things. So I was nervous because I don't have a background in nursing or something like that most people do when they become your aide, that I would be unqualified. But it's so silly because it was the most natural thing ever, and yeah, I think I had the best background for it from being your cousin. What is the most fun? What is the most fun? I'm just constantly surprised at just really how much we have in common, and how a lot of times I just feel like I learned so much from you about being an entrepreneur especially in the creative field, and you have just a unique way of navigating this world that it will just be like these things will happen, and I'm like, oh, I never thought of doing something that way before, but that makes total sense to me. So yeah, stuff like that I'm constantly surprised by. Sure. What's the most annoying or frustrating thing about being your aide? Having to be there at 8:30 in the morning. I'm just not a morning person. I have to get up early. I don't know. Getting up early and I don't know. I mean, sometimes things will not go as planned, and it's just another lesson in learning to improvise and roll with the punches. Like a lot of times, if we're not in like a perfectly controlled setting, like everything planned out, there's just, things that can throw off our routine, whether it comes to like even just getting dressed in the morning or our schedule for the day. You know, there's just, you really have to like, sometimes I'll get to your house in the morning and I have no idea what's in store, and sometimes it's, you know, you're not feeling well and we have to go to the doctor, or, you know, we have a random nurse coming to the house to do this thing. So it's just not really a frustration. It's just, it's, you know, a lesson in patience and, you know, just going with the flow. Right. So being in public with you, what have I noticed about other people and the way that they interact with you and stuff? Well, it's really interesting because you get a whole spectrum of interactions. And my favorite interaction is when somebody talks to her directly. They look her in the eyes, they talk to her, they ask her questions. And so I love when people do that, or when people are kind and will ask to help out. Like if I'm like holding a bunch of things and holding the door for her and someone just says, hey, can I get that door for you? It's like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you. But the things that come up that I feel like people can use some more education on is, like I said earlier, speaking to her. You know, there are times where, you know, we go to the doctor and you have to sign, you know, your paperwork or whatever, and people will look right at me and say, well, can she sign the paperwork? And it's like, well, why don't you ask her? She's right here. Why don't you ask her if she wants to sign the paperwork? Or things like that. What about at restaurants? Oh yeah, servers hardly ever talk to her. They'll talk to me or anyone else instead of just directly asking her what she wants. So yeah, it's a lot of that where it's like people just look straight past her, and because, you know, it's just I think people are afraid of maybe doing the wrong thing, or like they don't want to seem like they're not understanding, so they just, instead of talking to her directly, they skip over that because they're uncomfortable, I think. What would I most like people to understand? That you are a human being just like the rest of us, and you know that Brooke is really big on, she always says, always assume competence, and I think that is just such a great message. And yeah, I mean, I talk to Brooke like I talk to anybody else. And if there's something that she's saying that I can't understand, I just ask her to clarify, just like I would anybody else. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's such a simple thing, but it seems to be overlooked often. What's one thing about you that might surprise other people? Brooke can be super sassy. Especially towards her dad, which is funny. And me sometimes too. But I love those moments. I love when I see sassy Brooke. What's one thing I think that makes people most uncomfortable? The big issue? One thing, one reaction that I see a lot that makes me most uncomfortable. Let's see. Well, I always get uncomfortable when people compliment me as being your aide. That makes me uncomfortable. It just feels like people will often, we'll be standing next to each other and people will say, oh, what you're doing is so great. And I'm just like, she gave me the great response, because I told her one day, I said, it's really awkward when people say they compliment me and I'm just like hanging out with you. What should I say? And she said, well, why don't you tell them that I'm the brains of the operation? So that's my answer. Right, yeah, I'm not some superwoman helping you do life. You, like I said, you are a normal human being trying to do all the things in a day, and I'm just here to help you, and it's really as simple as that. You're awesome. I appreciate you too. Okay, bye. That was